as far as sleepers go, people that aren't really well known, I would like to compare Rashod Bateman to Justin Jefferson this year. Wow. Because one, I do think that the games are similar, but two, Justin Jefferson wasn't a name last year in drafts that people were super focused on as a top, the number one guy in the draft. It was, who was it? It was Henry Ruggs. Mm-hmm. It was CeeDee Lamb. It was Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, Justin Jefferson, as of right now, is the best wide receiver from that class.
Correct.
Could different things happen? Yes. And that's how I'd like to compare Rashod Bateman in this year's class. He might not be the top 3 prospect that everyone's looking at, but I genuinely think he could have a Justin Jefferson type year if he was in the right offense.
Okay.
This guy, look, when you watch his tape, you will see the similarities even to Justin Jefferson in his game. But in 2019, because he didn't play the 2020 season, he opted out, kind of. It's funny. We see a lot of people who have opted out for the 2020 season, but then we go and research and we see them playing in 2020. He played 5 games in 2020, but we're going to mainly look for scouting purposes at his 2019 season. Put up 60 receptions, over 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, and he had 12.4 yards per target. Why is that important? That means you have been effective on your routes and you've been able to impact the game. When Bateman had a reception on first down for Minnesota, Minnesota moved the chain 88% of the time.
Sheesh.
That is the highest in the nation in 2019. That means every time Rashod Bateman got his hands on a ball on first down, they converted 88%. 88%. And if you want to see a guy like Justin Jefferson who has an ability to impact a team from day one, I like Rashod Bateman this year. I really like him. And I hope that people don't cover him too much because I'd like to snag him personally late in a lot of redraft leagues. Kind of where Ruggs was going last year.
Okay.
You know, those late 10, 11, 12 rounds. But I see him as crazy upside. He's 6'1", 210. He's got a really big body. And another comparison I want to throw out there, which I kind of noticed straight away, was Keenan Allen. I feel like his game really represents a Keenan Allen. The way he can separate from a cornerback and create space. And he might not be the fastest guy,
right,
but he's able to create space so well with his route running that he can find open space and impact a game that way. Other comparisons that we've seen, these aren't our comparisons. His ceiling is Julio Jones. This is from CBS.
Mm-hmm.
His floor is Marvin Jones, excuse me.
That's a big jump, clearly.
It's a very big jump. Shout out to CBS. When you watch this guy, and I would encourage you to watch his tape because we're going to tell you how we feel about people, but it always helps for you to have your own opinions on players, obviously. Have your own feelings on players. But look, he's got crazy ball skills. He has the ability to win one-on-one, contested catches, smooth, savvy route runner, like I said. Great ability to get yards after the catch. And the one thing I noticed the most after watching his tape is his double moves are hot. This guy can leave people in the dust with double moves. Who else is great at that? Justin Jefferson. We saw it in the league this year. I know I'm a little bit high on him, and you're not as high as I am, but I genuinely think he can come into a team and make an impact. And maybe that's because he will go in the later first round to a better team than some of these other wide receivers.
Look, I like Bateman. Don't get me wrong, and everything that you have said here is credible. You know, we can see that he is and will be a asset to a team no matter where he goes. I believe somebody else has a little bit more of an upside, in my opinion. Obviously, we're not going to talk about him today, but
why don't you just say the name though, so people have a little teaser?
We sure?
Yeah.
My guy is Terence Marshall out of LSU. Okay.
That's how you have at 4, wide receiver 4.
He's my wide receiver 4. Like I said, we're going to get into it a little bit more in the next podcast. But like I said, Rashod Bateman is a great guy. I see him coming in, being utilized in multiple teams. I think my downfall, in my opinion, for him is that he obviously, I think it goes for everyone. they have to go to the right team, okay? And I think if he does go to a team that has I guess you say an eligible quarterback, maybe a quarterback that can do a little bit of something, then maybe he'll be fantasy relevant. This is all fantasy purposes, not at him as a talent. Fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay?
I get it.
I think
we are a fantasy football podcast.
Yeah.
So
I think that it's going... The asterisk for me on Bateman is that the only way he is successful in fantasy, and it's going to be relevant in fantasy, is if he has one of these great quarterbacks. I don't think if he does go to a new team that, a younger quarterback team like a Jalen Hurts, or maybe right now the Giants or the Patriots that don't have a quarterback, I believe that he will struggle, and he just like anyone else. Don't get me wrong, just like anyone else. But he will not be able to shine without the ability to have a great quarterback. And I know you have rebuttal for that.
I don't agree, but I think he's a very talented guy. I think we could be talking about him next year in a very high light. However, potential landing spots we have talked about. You like the Ravens. I'm not on board with this, but why do you like the Ravens?
Look, I like the Ravens
Bateman?
purely because of his height. He's 6'1", 210 pounds. I mean, I think he does have some speed to him. The yards after the catch is absolutely amazing. And I think he can go in and help Lamar. Obviously, we know that with Devin Duvernay and Hollywood Brown, they're a bit smaller. They need a bigger guy. We all know that. Obviously, Mark Andrews is quote unquote their bigger guy, but he's a tight end. Imagine if he was lined out on the outside. You can put Marquise in the slot, Devin Duvernay maybe on the other side, whatever the case may be. However they want to line it up, I like personally him going to the Ravens and being that bigger body there, that bigger body receiver that can be utilized quote unquote, like a Keenan Allen, like you said. Imagine if Keenan Allen was on the Ravens.
Yeah.
That's Rashod Bateman.
That's his upside. I want to be clear. I'm not going to say he is Keenan Allen, but I think he has had upside. There's very similarities within their games, and I agree that could make a good impact. I get where you're coming from now. My favorite landing spot for him, I'm not sure that he falls this far, but my favorite landing spot for him is the Green Bay Packers. Allen Lazard is a free agent, restricted free agent, I believe. But if they were able to draft a guy like Rashod Bateman, I think he could very easily slip into the wide receiver 2 role there. He's got wide receiver 1 upside.
Right.
But if he was playing alongside a guy like Davante Adams, that absolutely could open up the field for him. Green Bay Packers are at 29 in the first round. I'm not sure he falls that far. But there are some other people within the community that think he falls to the Jets, that he falls to the Lions. I think both are teams that make sense because they have such a need at the wide receiver position. The Lions obviously have 2 free agents in Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay. Whether they bring them back or not, they will definitely need some more weapons for Jared Goff, maybe to revive his career. I don't know if that's the right word.
Right.
But my favorite spot is the Packers. Could you imagine Devontae Smith on the other side? Aaron Rodgers. I think this absolutely, if he falls to the Packers, could propel him into a 5th to 7th round pick within fantasy drafts, redrafts.
Yeah, I see it.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the best of fantasy football. We got some more videos as well if you're feeling like it. And lastly, don't forget that you can support us and unlock exclusive content by signing up to our Patreon, patreon.com/fantasylandfam.